Let's do this right now. You two, I'm talking to you, baby. We are again situated in the same place at the same time. Second official Kevin Walsh FOMC live with your boy Oscar Ramos. How we feeling, fam? Oh, we're feeling Gucci. Feeling Gucci, guys. Because we may have a chance for clarity. We may have a chance because this prices, just take a look at these prices, guys. We're already locked in and ready to go to watch this one. Rate decision coming up in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, guys. So let's go ahead and turn on the comments right here. Boom. So comments right next to me are coming in now. There it is. First comment I see, did you sell CRO? Again, for the 1000th time, I'm holding CRO, staking it. I'm making money as I speak. I'm making money as I wait every single day. Chronos in due time, I'm hoping it's going to be okay based on all the research I've done. So yes, same goes for XRP, same goes for Cardano, Algorand, there are HBAR, and many coins, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you know, most of them. Chipper in the house. What up? Rubio, we're here, brother. Rubio, you've been so great. I always see you on X. I always see you on YouTube. I always see you, bro. Rubio, stay with us. I might have some good news for you at the end, okay? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I forgot my water. Classic. Okay, we're starting. We're starting. Get everybody in the house. Chipper, get everybody here. Let me go for my cup. I forgot my cup. Okay, I'm here. Welcome immediately. 300 people. What's up? We're here. I told you. I told you. I told you we were going to do this. I got gifted some Canton by Robinhood. Nice. Also got my glasses, guys, on right here. Boom. Very well, very well. We love it. Oh, yes. We're getting the people right now. We're getting the people. Somebody said nothing burger again. Well, I want a nothing burger for sure. How's it going, fam? Let's go. We're this close to see major breakouts if we can get that 7 to 10 DEMs. I made a video for you earlier today, so I got you all ready. Ghost in the house. Guys. I'm just waiting, baby. Like, for reals. Like, we want to see some major pump on the street now after such a long time of, you know, struggle. Oscar, when would you shave your head again? That's a great question, but that's a cool question. What up? 2026 might be cooked. Yeah, all those questions are more than welcome, guys. Welcome to everybody. We're here to go. There's a lot of great things happening. Over 1 trillion erased from the world's most valuable chip stocks this week. Well, for those of us who are losing thousands of dollars because XRP is not where we want it to be, just know that somebody lost $1 trillion today or the last couple of days. So just relax, you know, relax, fam. My friend Connor says Democrat Senator Catherine Cortez Masto on New Clarity Act. We feel good about the chance to resolve this issue once and for all. It's coming. The proposal was sent to the White House by the National Association of Assistant U.S. Attorneys and National District Attorneys Association. It is backed by Senator Cortez Masto of Nevada, a key Democrat who has been pressing for changes Basically because of Trump, as I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, a couple hours ago, yeah, on my X page, I told you, fam, that we need this. Obviously, I think hate embodies so many things, but because there's a lot of people who just don't like Trump at all. But if we can get past that, we're gonna get Clarity Act in 2026. If these Dems allow us to get one chance, not only voting, but also getting really close to passing to the 60 votes, if we're off by one, the last few votes, guys, things can change. And that's where we can really collide someone, bring them onto our side and pass Clarity. Because look, listen to what I'm about to tell you, bro. The markets think we're not getting Clarity. Not everybody thinks we're getting Clarity, meaning they're betting that we're gonna get a decline, rejected, and that's why bunch of shorts, leverage, open interest in shorts is huge, because we only have pump or dump. That's all we have. We're not gonna stay the same. Listen, we are not gonna stay at this level. We're not. We're either gonna go up or down. If we get rejected, like a date, get the date or no. You don't really feel the same after asking, right? So if we don't get it, brace yourselves, because that was our last chance in before recess. That was our last chance. So, but if we get it, there's gonna be a lot of things changing, and I think a bunch of shorts, they'll be watching us because we'll be live. They will be watching us, right? We'll be live, and as soon as we're getting closer to that 57, 58, 59, oh yes, they might start changing their positions and they're gonna start buying again. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think so. There's a lot of things that Watch Guru and a lot of different people are telling us. Look at that. Look at that image. BlackRock, as I told you a couple days ago, if it wasn't yesterday, because I make a lot of videos so you guys are updated. As always, want to make sure that people know what's up. I think it is a pause. I want to pause today. That's my vote. Yeah, I mean, we might get a pause from Kevin Warsh. We're going to be getting that decision in about 12 minutes, so I got you guys. Welcome to the 500 people joining us. Oscar Ramos live with my entire community here and more to come. How you all doing? Don't forget to drop a like. Let's get to 100 likes. That really helps a lot, I mean, if people here want what one norm is to find crypto educational content, buy more crypto, including XRP. It's just the way it is. You're just helping yourself to help us reach out to more individuals. That's just the way it is. What do we have here? Ivan, thank you for the $5, buddy. Just say the following. Hey, not trying to be annoying, but you never got back to me on X about BTCC. Just let me know if you can help or not. If so, what can I provide to make odds? Thanks, buddy. Will do. Will do. Thanks, Ivan. Appreciate that a lot. Super appreciate those $5. I believe, yeah, I do get a bunch of things, and I replied to a bunch, but might have missed yours. Thank you so much for reminding me. They need BTC to bottom, so they may hike to nudge it. Hey, bro, I hate to think negative, but Dems are in the way, period. Thomas in the house. Aloha, what's up? Hawaii. Want to go to Hawaii for sure. I plead the fifth. That was crazy. 111 times. 111 times, bro. That's insane. Not exactly what I wanted to see today. Not exactly what I wanted to see today, but I got to say it like it is. We got to say it like it is. Pump it, Oscar. What's up, Nick? In the house. Clarity Act, HR 3633, signing into law in 2026. 27% chance. It just went down 18%. When was this post? Polling market 53 minutes ago. Are you joking me? Nah, I gotta see it for myself. What? What? It went down. It was in the 30s. Yesterday, 2 days ago. It's just complete insanity right now. Complete insanity. Clarity Act. 29% chance. So were you here just a couple minutes ago when I told you that a lot of people think we're not getting Clarity Act? I mean, most of you were here. If we get Clarity Act, I really hope and pray that you have some longs, not financial advice. Because I have some. Because that's going to make me rich. Not financial advice again. Because if we do get it, wow. 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 Honestly. I'm just saying, bro. I hope we get it. But there's a lot of people who think we're not getting it. I mean, you feel me, right? Ghost? You feel me? Like, obviously, like, there's a lot of people saying we're not going to get it. I get it. Like, fine. I mean, that's what the numbers say it. But not financial advice for like the third time, right? But if you want to trade or so, you know where I'm going. I want to remind you guys that we're here always to bring you some chances to make some money on the side. 5,000 XRP. Are you kidding me? Just days away. Who's getting it? Let me know in the comments right now. Is it you? We're giving you guys away. We're giving away 5,000 XRP, which is over $5,000. At some point, it was $15,000. All you got to do is, well, link down below. You already know. Appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much. And sign up. BTCC in the house. They're great. I went to see them in London. And as Ivan here says, obviously not a perfect exchange by any means, right? There's obviously, it's an exchange. Like, who remembers Coinbase, bro? I mean, Coinbase, bro. How many people we had an issue with Coinbase 3 years ago? Robinhood, right? Gemini. Bro, I put money on Gemini. Earn. Am I the only one? Am I that old? You remember that they kept our money at, like, we couldn't access our money on Earn because there was this lawsuit and then they paused the withdrawals. Like, that was like 3 years ago. People don't remember about it. But no exchange is perfect, right? But you're good. So yeah, join us. Come over. I hate Coinbase. What's up, JB? You replied, "No, send me proof." Okay, that was it. Thank you so much, Ivan. Blessings, man. Blessings. As you know, I don't work for BTCC, right? I am just a content creator, right? So I think the best way for you is to reach out to their official channels, right? There's so much I can do, but when you are on your account, go to customer service, send them, DMs or so. I think that'll be the best thing for now that I will tell you. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. 5 minutes left. Welcome to the 700 people. And we already got to 100 likes. Let's go. Oh, we got the entire team right now. We got JB, TJ, Ghost, Chipper. Ooh, the big dogs. All right. Cheers. 29%, fam. 29%. And let's see, it's going to be a pause. It will be a pause. 5 minutes to go. Clarity Act won't change price action. If anything, it may accelerate a crash when people see it's not mooning. I disagree with that vividly. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, of course. Plays Genius Act. I mean, easy as 7.5. That's how big it was. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, most important, plays Clarity Act. 10. Genius Act does not cover all crypto. Clarity does. This is gonna be everything. And it's not just crypto, it's like so much security, ethics, everything. It will change the whole game. The whole game, bro. Alberto Garcia in the house, welcome. Yeah, I mean, institutions, bro. Look, BlackRock. It's like, oh yeah, sure, pass it. Fidelity, oh sure, pass it. Franklin, yeah, pass it. I think I'm gonna listen to them more than politics, you know. Honestly. Latest proposal from Senator Cortez Masto says this proposal was not the product of any agreements with me and falls short of protecting developers and giving law enforcement the common sense tools they need. But the status quo doesn't work, so we must keep working. The latest proposal will remove the Lumens-Gresley amendment, which clarified that software developers could only face criminal liability if they had specific intent to facilitate money laundering. It's a mess. But I'm here for the mess. 2 minutes ago. I'm here to tell you everything and the latest and every single change, because you sometimes get mad at me because you change, Oscar, and you say one thing, you say then the next day and you change it. I'm literally just reporting you what I see and what I'm reading from all kinds of different sources. Sometimes I could maybe get ahead of myself, which, yes, I am excited and I make mistakes maybe, right, when it comes to reporting sometimes, a few times. But that just comes to show the velocity at which information moves right now, especially with X. And clarity, there's just so much going on. And, well, you need to have the stamina to withstand this, right? So just the way it is. Just the way it is, bro. I'm just trying to tell you exactly, right? What's happening. All right, time. FOMC. Are you ready? Again, for the 1 million time pause. Maybe. Really? Come on, bro. I want to see FOMC latest. Here it is. Seconds to go. Seconds to go. Seconds to go. Welcome, Jorge. All right. 1 p.m. The decision is seems pause. Not much moving. X, just give shout out. I'm gonna just go to and everything the same as expected. Breaking news, everybody. Welcome aboard to 1,000 of you about to listen to the conference. The Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged, remains 3.5 to 3.75%. Unchanged. Almost 9 months unchanged. Because in all 2026, I believe we haven't cut anything. It's been the same. So the last one was somewhere close to the end of 2025, and that was at 0.25. Jerome Powell, he only cut 0.75%. 0.75. That's all he cut. 75 basis points. That's all he cut. So leaving the markets unchanged. Now, for us, for crypto purposes, all we have is Clarity at this point. That's all we have. Clarity Act is the one that's going to give us hope, or just roughly 37 days during the August Senate recess of pain and struggle, because, you know, markets are, I mean, inflation is still high. Some things are still expensive. The war in Iran just launched a surprise attack to a U.S. bases in Lebanon today. Zelensky met with Trump yesterday. Bibi Netanyahu met with Trump yesterday. I mean, it's a mess. Still goes. It hasn't ended. Poland in the house. What's up, buddy? Welcome. So yeah, I mean, it's the reality for our crypto market is there's other more important things that people are worried about. That's it. There's other important things that people are concerned other than Clarity Act, because for Democrats, they're like, this is just going to help Trump make more money. But dummies, it's like we're trying to apologize for what he did because it affects the whole industry. It tarnished the industry, but there's more to that, because there are real people, builders, companies who are trying to survive and make this blockchain community and this awesome innovation be the leader of, and to be called the crypto capital of the world, but we don't have clarity. So Singapore, Dubai, Mecca, and other regions are going to just take leadership. That's the trade-off. That we don't want that. Are you guys already tired of winning? Drop a like, everybody. Subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bells. Very happy to see all of you here. Welcome aboard. How you all doing? We're going to be watching it live very soon as we enjoy some of the latest updates, of course. And when we have some days like this, you're always going to have colorful people in the comments. So obviously, everyone here is an adult, so I don't need to tell you what to read or not, so you will make your own conclusions, right? But yeah, just never don't spam, please. That's all it is. But comment whatever you want when it comes to crypto. Just don't spam. We have a lot of great admins here, and they're not. They take it really seriously, and I love them. Let's take a look and check what's cooking here. So yeah, the same change, the same, nothing has changed.
So big banks all waiting for the Senate to move forward on the Clarity Act, which would put some new rules around crypto and stablecoin industries. Joining us right now to talk about it is Rob Nichols. He is the president and CEO of the American Bankers Association. And Rob, I can't think of anything that has gotten bankers more riled up than the Clarity Act recently. Maybe we can point back to the huge kind of back and forth fights between Jamie Dimon and Brian Armstrong from Coinbase about what's going on here. You obviously represent bankers. Why don't you tell me your side of things, what you find wrong with the Clarity Act?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of good in the Clarity Act, too. We do think that we should have a supervisory framework over digital assets. We think that's important. And innovation in the United States is important as well. So we support that. But we want to make sure we do it in a way that doesn't impact economic activity and local lending. So the new draft, Becky, that just came out, it's 600 pages. And the intent of the senators is to ensure that, just like in the Genius Act, issuers of payment stable coin are not able to offer yield, interest, or reward for fear that deposits would flee banks and credit unions. And that would impact a lot of economic activity all across the United States, New Jersey, and everywhere else. So we're working with the senators just to make sure that the language that they
I see, I see where some of the initial reactions of the prices are going right now. Look at this, beauty. Don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up, and don't you know, pump it up. We love that, fam. We love that. Now, here, I'll continue playing the video right now in just a moment. But since I see a lot of, discourse in the comment section too right now in chat, we'll ask about clarity. We'll ask about clarity right now. I have a question, so we'll play this and I'll get it done.
They intend can also extend to affiliates and to exchanges, and so there isn't a massive dampening of economic activity. So the Congress intent here is simply what we're helping them do. The bill, Becky's about 600 pages, and there's only 2 paragraphs that we're suggesting tiny surgical edits. So the bill will do exactly what the senators want it to do. I will say this, too, and you mentioned the dialogue between Mr. Armstrong and Jamie Dimon. I do think that the crypto and the banking sectors can coexist. I think we can be the crypto capital of the world, and I think we can be the banking capital of the world. But there is a reason that they call it payment stablecoin and not deposit stablecoin. Congress views this as a very important payment innovation. I share that view, but they don't view it as a deposit substitute. And the two things are different.
But Brian Armstrong says that what he's been pushing for with this and what the legislation says at this point is actually in favor of consumer interests. Why?
There you have it. That was the president of the American Bankers Association. There's a lot of good in the Clarity Act. Look, you remember last year and early 2026 when there were the White House, Michael Saylor, the Gemini brothers, Brian Armstrong, and some lawmakers coming together at the White House, like bankers, the White House, lawmakers, and the industry, right? There was a group of people back when Bo Hines was in charge, right? Now it's Patrick Witt. I think he's doing a really good job. All the names that I have in my head is crazy, but Bo Hines, now he works at Tether. I think he's doing well. But banks initially, they got a lot of money. Banks are the ones who control everything. But banks were like, look, just stay out of this. Don't cross this line. Help us, let us make money here and do whatever you want. Right? So banks already are getting what they want. It's like all we're waiting for is just politics. That's what it looks like. Because if BlackRock, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, and banks, some of them are in, just Jamie Dimon, of course, he has a vendetta. He doesn't want it. Still gonna fight it. Elizabeth Warren, oh boy, where do I start? It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But that's just the reality of what we have right now. No, you're not late. Rates remain unchanged. Just waiting for Powell now. You're waiting for Kevin Walsh now. Powell is gone. Well, I mean, Powell, okay, I think you mean because he is a governor, right? I get it. In one of the most divided decisions in years, the Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged. This marks the 5th consecutive meeting with no change in rates, extending the Fed's longest pause since 2008. And you meant Kevin. There you go. So, yeah, I mean, there you have it. They've been pausing for such a long time, bro. Such a long time. Prices are decent. Korea is collapsing. FOMC, Bloomberg. Oh yeah, we gotta listen to this guy. We're 20 minutes to go. Should be really nice. I'm so ready. I am really, really, really ready. Marco Rubio in the house. That'll be good. DCG. Oh, I remember DCG. So cool. So cool. Dude, the entire crypto market manipulated and being held down, not just XRP. True. It's true. XRP is a scam because it's being held down. XRP has the most utility than any of the top 10 crypto. And that's why XRP is a scam? Wonder you might want to rephrase that, huh? I think it's a clever way for them to keep the threat of crypto at bay, pretending to adopt it long enough to gain control of it. I mean, if there was a time to gain control of crypto, I mean, this is a great time to buy, in my opinion, right? You have the lowest levels for XRP in years, not price-wise, but when you take a look at the RSI, we're so oversold and undervalued right now. I mean, it's insane. Altcoins are demolished, although most of them are still holding steady, but they're still mega down. Claudio says banks don't want you to get a car loan for 3% interest or a house for 2%, then no one is going to the bank and they are a mafia. Bro, banks are always going to win. We complain about the government, but the banks own everything. Banks are the ones that you don't mess around. The bank lobby. That's why we still don't have Clarity Act, because banks, and I've heard this from a lot of, anchors or so, and watching Fox Business and all of that. Like, they're actively educating or talking to senators about all the things all the negative, crypto, Trump, scams, money laundering. Just makes total sense. Forget about the tokenization, forget about identity and protections and decentralization and ownership and swapping and all the greatness that crypto brings, right? No, that's not important. Just bring the bad. That's what it is. The house always wins. What's the price of BTC right now? 64. Ooh, and went up. BTC went up just lately. Not bad. Just the initial reaction. We'll have to wait and see what he has to say to the entire audience, and we'll keep you in the know as always. So it was supposed to be, but they went out with Kevin Warsh. As you know, at the very beginning, you're talking about a year ago when they were talking about, okay, who's gonna take the next, who's gonna become the next chair, and Kevin Hassett, that's his name, and yeah, this is a Trump loyalist, and they went with him, which I think he's a great option too, based on his qualifications. But it's not easy to be the Fed chair. I get it. It's a big job, right? It's a big job. I was watching this as I was having my breakfast earlier today and relaxing. Obviously, has nothing to do with crypto, but we all know, if we are alive today, you know what happened 6 years ago. Something that I never thought it was going to happen in my lifetime. But hey, I mean, I was an adult. I lived through it. We all lived through it, right? We all have our own stories about it. We all know who this guy is. We all know everything about it. I mean, insane, right? What a time, what a time that we had to go through. Crypto crashed. I remember seeing Dow Jones collapse. I didn't know much because I was learning crypto as it was happening. I was starting my crypto journey. I was starting my investing journey during the pandemic. It's like the worst time to buy, like the worst time to learn, because it was the best time to buy. That was the best time to buy and the worst time to learn. But learn my lesson. XRP in 5 years will be what price? Imagine 5 years from now. Oscar, do you think he will say something about crypto? I don't think so. Unless they bring the Clarity Act. We'll see. We'll see. You should launch a meme coin like your Paul Levi. Black. I will never, ever launch a meme coin project because I don't want to. And that's it. End of the story. If you see someone doing it on my behalf, that's not me. I will never do that, bro. I don't want to. I don't have any interest in that. All I want to do is what I'm doing right now. I'm tired of winning, somebody says. Bobby, what's up, Bobby? Good to see you, brother. Welcome. Just bought some not Oscar's meme coin. No, bro. No. That's another conversation. Not for now. Not for now. Come on, XRP. Do something miraculous. I want to quit my job today. I know, man. Don't we all? Michael Saylor sold some Bitcoin. BitMEX fails. Clarity Act dying at a slow death. Then Bitmart failed. Rate hike looming, although it's still a pause. And Bitcoin is still over 60,000. Alcon Daily. Yeah, I agree. So crazy, huh? That we are still over 60,000. Sweden in the house, German in the house. Good to see you guys. Welcome. On the bright side, means another month to continue accumulating. Well, if we don't get clarity, I might take a break of 5 hours and I'll be back ready to go. Because next week, and I know I always say it, 48 hours, 24 hours, it's just because it makes sense for the video, right? But next week, I'll be live. I don't know for how long, but we'll be watching that Senate hearing, or not hearing, sorry, but the vote, right? We'll be there ready to go and watch and see when they're going to bring clarity to the Senate floor for voting. And we'll see. And if we don't pass it, well, we'll just have to wait until September, October. Because November, forget about it. It's basically cooked. Completely gone if we don't get it by October. We'll have to wait until 2027. But that's really sad, man. That's really sad. 10 minutes to go, fam. 10 beautiful minutes to go. Almost 200 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Really helps and bring more people to the conversation. What do you think about the chances of clarity this year? I think I just already answered that for you. ASA, scammers. Crazy people. Nasty people. I wouldn't quit my job, but I will be taking frequent vacations with my family for sure. I agree, bro. I agree. What happens if clarity in 2027? What happens is that we are coming from a bear market, and that will just extend the bear market. That's what will happen. It will just extend the bear market. It will really help us much for the bulls in the conversation. Oscar, you heard of midnight? I do have some because I got airdrops. Yeah. Oscar, your thoughts on Clarity Act passing before recess? There's a chance. It's odds are low, but there's a chance. If we get it, then we're gonna really do super well. Just remember that last year we got Genius during the summer, and we had a great time. I mean, obviously it didn't last much, but I mean, I still liked it. I mean, we can have that for 2026. Man, I'm so ready, bro. Until the next one. Breaking. Trump tells Fox News US will beat the FS out of them after attack on US forces in Jordan. You do not mess with Donald J. Trump, bro. You just don't do that. Like him, hate him. But sad but true. The AI bubble finally popped. We got SanDisk. We got AMD. A lot of different cryptos, well, in this case, stocks coming down a lot. Poly Market Clarity Act drops to 27, lowest since May. We're just not hearing what we need to hear from senators right now, guys. We're just not hearing the good news. Can't wait until this war BS is over, man. We need those gas prices down. Guess what? I just got myself a hybrid. A PHEV. I literally just, yeah. And it's been one of the greatest financial decisions I've made, because I haven't had to pump gas in a week. My gas is the same. I'm just charging at home. I mean, because I know, I mean, gas prices are crazy too. We're all looking for, what is that? Oh my god, that's crazy. No change. All I'm saying is that we're just finding ways to combat this price inflation and get high gas prices, because look, we just don't know how long this is gonna take. Don't you think I'm tired? I'm frustrated. One day the Strait of Hormuz is open, the next day is closed, the one day is open, and the next day is closed, like a coffee shop. Then They attack each other, and then we're very close to passing Clarity Act. We're going to pass it by 2025. It's coming in. Brian Armstrong, everybody. We want to pass it on before. Didn't happen. Early 2026, Q1 22 didn't happen. Q2 2026, yeah, we're there, almost there. Brad Garlinghouse was like, by March, by April. You know what? I'm not going to even give any timeline. He's like, no one knows, not even our leaders or the people who we look up to. No one knows when it's going to pass. So we're just trying to keep it entertained and fun because, well, it is what it is, fam. What are we supposed to do this whole time? 4 minutes to go, guys. 4 minutes to go. 4 beautiful minutes to go. But I do want to say thank you to all the 1,000 of you who are here. Been very nice. And we're always trying to bring those awesome 5,000 XRP giveaways. We're giving out 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So sign up in the link down below right now if you haven't already. If you're one of those who are still with you know, you don't have an account on BTCC, make sure you use mine. That's how you qualify to the giveaway. And get a chance because for August 2026, in a few days from now, we're going to give away 5,001 XRP and a Messi signed jersey. So for those who like that, boom, right? We want to make sure that there's some other awesome gifts coming at your way. Appreciate that, guys. You'll see that all in the links very soon. Ooh. Giving XRP sounds fishy. Well, try giving you XRP. Who wants to give XRP? I mean, not many people. One thing we do know is that the Clarity Act passing is not a price-in event. So once that happens, we can watch the price go up slowly but surely. Yeah, it's gonna have its pump. It might continue for a while, but it will just we're gonna enter into a new reality for crypto once it becomes law. It will be a new reality for the whole industry. That's why I'm bullish. I'm here for it. The text is already, it's out already. It's paused. Clarity Act passage will be the sell news event. That's what you said. I disagree with that. With 500 plus votes, we have a pump heart nice. Most people agree with that. That's really nice. Very good. Well, fam, here it comes. Lock in and ready. We're about to listen to Kevin Warsh, our Fed chair. Let's refresh this page. There you go. Make it big. And there you have it. Okay, guys. Very happy to see you all. I'll be here after to give you a quick summary and final thoughts. I'll go mute, as you know. Let people know. Enjoy the chat. All yours. And here we go. Let's pump. We got to pause. Rates unchanged. 5th consecutive time. And, well, Clarity Act comes in. Decision. We'll see what happens.
Good day. My second FOMC committee meeting as chairman has come quickly. It's probably too early to call it a streak, but our discussions again were collegial and constructive. I'm truly lucky to work with colleagues so capable and mission-focused, and so determined, like I am, to sharpen the performance of the Federal Reserve. Today, as you know, our committee decided to vote by a 9-3 vote to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5% to 3.75%. The committee is continuing its policy of making ample reserves in the banking system. The economy is showing impressive resilience. Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth. Job gains have kept pace with the workforce, and the unemployment rate has changed little. Inflation remains elevated relative to the committee's 2% goal. The committee remains resolute. You've heard this before, but we will deliver price stability. As before, the policy statement conveys just the facts. It's steering clear of forecasting, a choice we consider especially prudent at these uncertain times. Uncertainty, however, does not mean a lack of clarity. For some households, businesses, and market professionals, 5 years of high inflation have left a mistaken impression that's hard to shake, that the Fed's implicit inflation target was somehow above 2%. Let me reiterate, there is no soft inflation target. There is no soft implicit target, not on this committee's watch. There's only a target, and it's 2%. Not one of my FOMC colleagues is under any illusion. We have begun a new chapter, and we understand that the 5+ years of inflation above target cannot be cured in 9 weeks, or by a single month of modest price decreases. This Fed will not waver. Our credibility rests on performing our duties and delivering on our responsibilities. Americans are right to expect that because our nation's prosperity depends on it. To the regulars here in the press room, today's assessment might sound familiar, yet there was nothing inertial about our discussions, our policy, or our strategy. 2 economic developments are worth highlighting. The first is a very notable change since our last meeting 42 days ago. Nominal and real yields are materially higher across the Treasury curve. In fact, some of the increases in market interest rates between FOMC meetings are among the most significant in the last 2 decades, ranking around the top decile or so. But if the committee didn't change its policy rate, what happened? In the intermeeting period, market attention centered on real data and real economic developments. Prices reacted in real time to incoming information, and the reduction in forward guidance may have been a factor. Market participants are learning to play the ball, not the referee, and market prices will continue to respond in the direction and magnitude they see fit. This is, in my view, a change for the better, and we're just getting started. After all, the central bank need not always and everywhere be the center of attention. I understand the desire for rolling forecasts and commentary from this committee, but for our part, we need to observe market reaction to developments, direct and unfiltered. I want to stress, of course, that decisions by this committee matter a great deal, and where necessary and appropriate, we will not hesitate to act. A second economic development is one that I noted at the congressional oversight hearings this month, but it's worth repeating. The most striking feature of the economy is the strong growth of business investment. The surge in high-tech CapEx has been remarkable, but that does not necessarily make the Fed's role any easier. In the AI-related category of high-tech equipment and software, the most recent data shows 4-quarter growth rates of nearly 20%. This is helping to sustain the healthy momentum of manufacturing output. More generally, CapEx is preparing the ground for future growth. Nonetheless, the precise timing and magnitude of effects on the supply side remain hard to predict. FOMC meetings produce policy decisions, but just as important is candid discussion of the big things that matter most. That too is a priority in this new chapter at the Fed. In our meeting, vigorous discussion centered on 4 questions, which I will enumerate. First, we talked a lot about the implications of the past 5 years of high inflation on the current policy conjuncture. To echo an old phrase, has the past really passed? Second, my colleagues and I considered the economic shocks of recent years, strained supply chains arising from the pandemic, military conflicts, energy supply disruptions, substantial increases in tariff rates, and yes, the surge in AI-related investment. These differ in their sources. Do they also differ in their effects on output and employment? Third, we took up the related question of price increases arising from shocks. The business CapEx boom, for example, is driving up prices of memory and logic chips and associated AI infrastructure. Do these changes indicate a broader inflationary dynamic, or do we just focus on them because they are under the bright streetlight? Finally, we discuss monetary policy tools and strategies for achieving stable prices. If, as the Fed has long held, interest rate policy should be its primary monetary policy instrument, how much accommodation are we getting from the balance sheet? In all of this, our work is advancing at the Fed. We're asking the right questions. And in this consequential time, we know how very much depends on getting the right answers. Of course, you've all arrived with questions of your own, so let's turn to them now.
Let's start with Steve.
Thank you for taking our questions, Mr. Chairman. Sure. You've had a couple months now, or 9 weeks, or whatever number it is, to see the markets behave in the absence of forward guidance. I'm wondering if you could tell me, what message are you getting from the markets as to where policy ought to be right now?
Yeah, so I think officially it's 8 weeks and 4 days, but I'm not counting. The message from markets is the message from markets. What I've really been trying to do, Steve, as I think you appreciate, your colleagues appreciate, is getting an unfiltered message from markets, getting a direct message. Letting buyers and sellers meet at prices for treasuries, for the foreign exchange value of the dollar, and then trying to judge for ourselves, what does that mean about our remit? How are we doing on inflation? How are we doing on employment? We're trying not to interfere with that market signal. That's part of the reason why we've been somewhat spare in our words, why we pulled back from forward guidance. So they're reacting to events, I would say, much more directly over the 42 days since we last met. This is a good thing. As I mentioned in the prepared remarks, we've seen a material tightening, not just in nominal rates, but in real rates too. And we're observing it. We're trying to stay out of that because, many of you might be interested in our reaction function. We're interested in the reaction of financial markets.
I get that, Mr. Chairman, and I guess the follow-up question is, if the markets are talking to you, what do you hear them saying? And if it's real rates are higher, it would suggest that that's where the funds rate ought to go.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I'm sorry, it's your question. So interpreting markets is an imperfect business. We central bankers, like market pros, can think these things are overdetermined, but let me offer some speculation. First, as we said in the FOMC statement that you got at 2 o'clock, the economy output is solid. CapEx and productivity are Labor markets solid, steady. The bond market, the treasury market, it seems to be saying that as well. If I were to try to break down, disaggregate the treasury market signals, I wouldn't be able to do it perfectly. But the bond market's saying many of those same things, and that's why we're seeing a tightening both in nominals and in reals. Even while at some level we haven't done much in 42 days, the markets have done quite a bit.
Claire Jones, Financial Times. You seem to have got the family fight you were after at this meeting. We saw three dissents. Could you characterize the arguments that those dissenters put forward, please, and tell us a little bit why you weren't persuaded by them at this stage? Thank you.
So I guess I shouldn't give you their best arguments. I'll give you some others. So you're right. I asked for a good family fight and I got one. That's the purpose. That's the design feature. I come into this meeting, even this press conference, heartened by what I've experienced the last 2 days. Most of our discussion were on the big questions that matter to the conduct of monetary policy. We didn't sort of hide from them. We weren't scared of them. There was a lot more interaction between and among my colleagues. It was a real family fight. My view, which you've long heard, is that's the better way to get policy right. That's our North Star. So there was a lot of agreement that I heard that we have the powers, the tools, also the authority to deliver stable prices. No walking back from our responsibilities. There was a large majority support for the decision that we made in the room. But I also want to leave you, Claire, with one other impression. There was nothing inertial about that discussion. It was an active, robust discussion about what's in the full range of what we can do and might want to do in the period ahead. You characterized accurately there was a disagreement about a decision today. I would say that doesn't sort of capture the full essence of the discussion. The path to central bank heaven requires delivering on our remit. These days, that means delivering on price stability. I wouldn't measure that path in 42 days or any one particular meeting. And I came out of that meeting even more confident that this is the right team to win the battle against high inflation.
How much do you think not going in July was down to the cool CPI print for June?
So in 2 words, not much. Not much. I'd like to believe that the committee shares my views, which is the historic problem with data dependence is the data and the dependence. We are not relying on any one individual piece of data as cover or as an excuse or as validation. What I care about and what I think the committee cares about is trends on the data. Sure, we got some encouraging inflation data. I think at the meeting 42 days ago, I said something like 63 months of inflation above target. I didn't say 64, though the final calculation might be a close one. So we'll be watching inflation data over the period ahead, but I also don't want you to leave the misimpression that we're sort of breathlessly waiting that. I've called for a task force to revisit both the private and public data we use to make our decision making. That task force is out doing their work. I'll be checking back in with them the next couple of weeks, but I wouldn't say we overly relied on any one piece of data, including that data, which surprised some a couple of weeks ago.
Neil.
Hi, Chairman Warsh. Thanks. Neil Irwin with Axios. Thank you for taking our questions. So the Fed funds rate is now about 75 basis points below the 2-year yield. Suggests markets think you'll have to tighten eventually, about 100 basis points below most Taylor rule estimates. You're hitting your employment mandate, inflation stays high. Why should rates not be higher today?
There's a lot in there, Neil. So rates are higher today than they were 42 days ago. Markets have made decisions because we step back in part from trying to influence those. Market judgments have moved up on what nominal rates are across the Treasury curve. That doesn't mean we take them as by dictation, but we're observing them. So I think it's a mischaracterization to say that markets haven't reacted because we didn't move today. Markets are reacting in real time. In the period ahead, we've got important decisions to make about the policy rate. Markets in the intervening period, I think, have quite a bit of decisions to make. I'll see if I can put it this way. Monetary policy matters not just by what we say or even what we do. Monetary policy matters by how it affects the real economy. And these prices that we see in financial markets is one of the many ways in which it affects the real economy. We'll be continuing to watch that market information, see how it responds to incoming events, and that can help inform our decision making when we meet in 7 or 8 weeks.
How would you characterize in the family fight the last couple of days of you and the other 8 members who wanted to hold? Was that a strong conviction, or was that a hair trigger close call on holding versus tightening?
Well, I think the vote was 9-3. The broader discussion to my ear over the course of the last days showed a lot of agreement on the hard questions. The 4 questions I raised at the outset about what's really happening in the economy with the shocks and absent the shocks. What are our tools and our capabilities? What's the effect on prices on output? I heard a lot of commonality on the questions. Were there different leans on the answers? You bet there was. So could people come to different conclusions? Absolutely. But my own judgment is this is a period of watchful thinking, not watchful waiting. And I think the score on that vote was unanimous.
Colby. Thank you, Colby Smith with the New York Times. You've mentioned that looking at the Fed's policy tools is one element of a 3-pronged strategy to address the inflation problem. So I'm curious how you view the effectiveness of those tools. If inflation is too high and not coming down, is the best remedy to raise interest rates?
So that was the discussion in the last 2 days. Is that the dominant remedy? If inflation continues to be elevated through the forecast period, interest rates could well be part of that solution. But I wouldn't say it's in isolation. I tried to describe in my remarks today a point that I made into the oversight committees a couple of weeks ago. I think there was a misimpression by some in financial markets, by some households and businesses, that central bankers like me, we set a 2% inflation target, but maybe we were more tolerable of a somewhat higher inflation target. In economics, we'd call that the revealed preference. And so might it have been rational for people to think, well, their inflation target's somewhat higher. What I heard in the last 2 days, what I've heard in 8.5 weeks is no. We will deliver the 2% inflation target. That is the committee's definition of price stability. So one way, absent the tools that you reference, to ensure that we get there is ensure that expectations are centered around the right number. And I think we've made some progress on that. I am not suggesting we're done on that. It's worth reiterating. And ultimately, the business we're in, Colby, is performance. We are going to be judged by how we perform. And that's what we intend to do. The inflation target, making clear expectations is one part of it. Making sure we demonstrate we're responsible for it, we're not blaming as another. And our policy tools, like you referenced, is the third and equally consequential part.
How are you factoring the fact that a large portion of the inflation overshoot is being caused by supply shocks, as it's mentioned again in the statement? Does that blunt the effectiveness of rate hikes in your view?
First, on the premise of your question, it was almost as if you were listening to our discussion in the last day and a half. A lot of our focus was on trying to understand and identify underlying inflation dynamics amid shocks. We take these shocks seriously. There have been a series of them that have been hitting this economy. We're not looking through them and saying, oh, they don't matter. But we're trying to understand is to what extent are these shocks broadening in their effects, broadening in their impact on prices that are quite far removed from it. Our goal is to have growth that is broadening and inflation that is becoming more limited, more circumscribed. I'll be the first to admit the shocks make this job and this policy conjuncture a little tougher, but that's among the chief questions we've asked ourselves. And around the room, people have different views on it. I tend to think in the coming months we're going to refine that view and have a better judgment, and we're going to have market prices trying to help inform it too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. I guess I want to drill down maybe a little bit. What specifically, in your mind, would be the argument then for a pause today?
So I wouldn't characterize what we did as anything like a pause. I would characterize what we did as a rigorous review of the economic situation. I would characterize what we did as a review of the big hard questions, and I'd characterize it as a view of what our own homework is to try to resolve those questions in the period ahead. If you were to try to force a description that this was a pause, I would say financial market prices would take the other side of that. Financial market prices in this intermeeting period, they didn't pause, they reacted to the inflation data in one direction, strong economic growth in the other direction, and nominal and real rates went up. Did the Fed take an explicit change in its policy rate today? No, but I think that's the beginning of the story, not the end of the story.
And if I could, I did want to ask, not forward guidance, but looking forward. Traditionally, a Federal Reserve chairman uses the Jackson Hole Summit as a sort of a reset of monetary policy. Well, how do you look at the speech that you're going to make in August?
I look at it like a blank piece of paper right now. I have not begun consideration with the incredible team here what would go into that document. I think you characterized it correctly. Historically, at least from my first tour of duty at the Fed to more recent periods, it would be sort of a setting up speech more often than not of what was going to be happening in the fall. I haven't made any judgments on that, but those are judgments we'll have to come to. If I could, in the high mountain air in Jackson, Wyoming, I'd like to also frame the big questions. There is a tendency, especially with the proliferation of meetings and press conferences, to get caught up in the myopic. Did you do this by a quarter or do that? Ultimately, whether we deliver on price stability matters some, the decisions we make in 6 or 7 or 8 week periods. But they matter more, what are the big questions? What's really happening with productivity? What's really happening with demographics? What's really happening to the global economy amid the shocks? Haven't made a decision whether it's going to be a big picture speech or whether it's going to be a more traditional setup for all the action we're going to have between September and December. I will tell you one other thing that I am doing between now and Jackson Hole, which is I'm checking with those task forces. My first principle of establishing a task force is find the best subject matter experts anywhere in the world and put them together, especially put them together with other people who might disagree with them. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a check back in. I've given them time to sort of think hard about their agenda, their debate, their schedule, and when they might be ready for prime time. I'll be doing a little bit of that checking, and that may or may not inform anything I have to say in Jackson.
Nick Timmeros of the Wall Street Journal. Chairman Warsh, I want to follow up on Colby's question about policy transmission. You've said there's no cruel choice between stable prices and full employment. Rates bring inflation down by cooling demand. It's generally thought that can show up in the labor market. If that's not the channel you're relying on, what is?
Yeah, so let me go back to first principles, Nick. I don't believe that either part of our mandate is generally at war with the other part. I do not believe that price stability and full employment is an either-or proposition. There have been policymakers over the last several generations who have thought that there is a strict trade-off there. That isn't my judgment. In fact, my judgment is if and when we deliver on our remit, we're going to be satisfying both prongs. We're going to have price stability and full employment. And in fact, if you want to do the most harm to the labor markets, you would run a period of high inflation that's variable such that employers, businesses, wouldn't really know what's going on. So I think the two parts of our mandate are equally important. We have no legislative orphans here. I've been talking mostly about price stability because we're doing pretty well collectively as a country, as policymakers on the full employment side. But we're doing considerably less well on prices. That's why we describe them as elevated, and that's what's taken most of our discussion. In terms of transmission mechanisms of monetary policy, I think different tools work through different transmission mechanisms. The interest rates work through lending channels and credit channels, maybe confidence channels and foreign exchange. The balance sheet probably works through some other channels like signaling and portfolio balance. We're keeping full abreast of all these tools in making policy. But if the suggestion is somehow we're going to be fine-tuning aggregate demand so it catches supply, that's not my mental model. I don't think we're great in the fine-tuning business. We're trying to get supply and demand in broad order, but really what we're doing as we sit here today at this press conference is I think we've got a reasonable sense of what aggregate demand looks like in this economy. We're inferring aggregate supply. We're making a judgment about what productivity is. And in some sense, there's a race between supply and demand. And the surge in business CapEx in around AI, it's making that calculation a little harder to judge, but in the period ahead, we're going to be trying to judge just that.
And if I could ask, where exactly was the disagreement today? Was it about the inflation forecast, or was it something more around the risks, the tactics?
Yeah, so I'm going to I'll let the dissenters speak for themselves. The way I heard it over the last 2 days was overwhelming agreement on objectives and authority and commitment. I didn't hear anybody walking away from it. The judgments as to how best to achieve the price stability, that was probably the question that we were trying to answer. What's the best move? What's the best strategy? What's the best way to achieve it? And a second question that was asked is, when do we need to make those harder calls? When do we need to make those decisions? And like I said to one of your colleagues, I was comforted that markets in the intermeeting period weren't reacting to us. They weren't reacting to dots or to speeches. They appeared more than ever to be reacting to real-time events. So they're gauging themselves how restrictive the Treasury curve should be. And that, I think, has been a useful development. We don't endorse any particular market move, but I'd also suggest we observe them with keen interest.
Janelle Marte with Bloomberg. Following up on that, there was more uncertainty in the markets about what the Fed would do at this meeting. To some extent, you might think that's what you want to see. But my question is about, is there a point at which you would not want to surprise the markets if they were pricing in something with higher certainty that was opposite of what you were intending to do? Yeah. What are the risks that you see associated with that?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Surprise is not the objective function. Surprise is not what we're solving for. We have a clear North Star. What we're solving for is how to make the best decisions. Almost everything else should be in service to that goal. By not spoon-feeding markets, by not previewing our decisions, by not sort of giving nudges and leans, my colleagues and I have found in the intermeeting period, what we're getting is the views from a very accomplished economist. That's the internals of financial markets. Instead of just repeating or echoing what we were saying back to us, they're giving us somewhat, not perfect, their own judgment. Surprises are not the objective, but at the same time, I would say we didn't come into this meeting feeling constrained by the full range of alternatives we had in front of us.
So some of your peers have continued to discuss how they think about policy decisions, and if you don't offer your reaction function or your way of thinking about it, how concerned are you that you're ceding control of the narrative?
So not very concerned. That's a short answer to the question. When some people that follow the Fed say, well, we don't want your forecast. We don't want your dot. We just want your reaction function. Part of me hears what we really want is your forecast. And what we really want is your dot. In terms of reaction function, let me sort of disabuse people of a question that may or may not be real and be out there. Any central banker, especially a central banker where the labor markets are more or less at equilibrium. Any central banker, when he or she sees underlying inflation moving higher, he or she is more inclined to tighten policy. Again, when you've achieved the other side of your mandate and you see underlying inflation falling, he's more inclined to loosen policy. That's my reaction function, and I don't suspect it will cause people to not continue to pry for more, because the truth is, for a very long time in a lot of countries, coming out of the 2008 crisis, we're in crisis mode, we were purposefully providing a lot of information, trying to provide a lot of assurance, trying to tell people exactly what we're going to do, offering forward guidance with clarity as if we're tying our own hands behind our back. Well, in crisis mode, that strikes me as a very prudent policy. But in more benign conditions, it strikes me as worth revisiting. But markets and market participants and reporters have learned to devour all that information, so I take seriously that the pullback of forward guidance requires some transition. Reform isn't easy, but our general judgment is it's going to help us make better decisions, and in so doing, satisfy our remit.
Paul Weissman. Thank you. It's coming. There's a mic coming.
Thank you. When you talk about the 2% inflation target, what measure are you relying on?
Yeah, so I'll give two answers. First, let me give the proper standard answer. The Federal Reserve every January outlines a statement of purposes and strategy. And in that strategy document, which I believe was dated January of this year, it describes a measure of PCE inflation as the objective function there. I have enough of my own, so that's our number, we're sticking with it. Who knows come after next January what we might say about strategy. I suspect the task forces might have something to add. But I'll say this, some version of the Lucas critique, some version of Goodhart's law in economics should remind us that when we talk about measures of inflation or something else, and we describe those measures as being consistent with our objectives, we might make them such that they're not very good measures or very good objectives. Broadly, if you said to me standing in front of you, I abide fully by the strategy document, we're going to deliver 2% inflation and not a whisper more. But to achieve that, I'm looking at a broader set of inflation data than PCE. So without sort of fully revealing my cards, I'm trying to understand, like my colleagues, what's the underlying generalized change in prices that are happening in the economy. It is not a perfect science. I might have said 42 days ago, I've got a task force for that. But we have a data project that's trying to look and see whether we can't separate the noise from the signal. And so if you would hear a message from me, yes, I care about what the PCE prints are. I care about what the contributions are from CPI and everything else. But my lens is broader than that, even though the remit is quite narrow.
Mike McKee.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Radio and Television. I'm struggling a little bit with some of what you've said today, and maybe you can help clarify this. You've said over and over again that your job is to bring down prices, to get prices stable, to hit your target, and that you will hit your target. The market says you're not there yet because they've raised rates, but all you've talked about today is talking about it, and it's not like members of the committee weren't there before you talking about it. So I guess what the American people might be asking is, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, this press conference is not all I've done today. We have spent an inordinate amount of time in the last 2 days, 2 weeks, looking at our monetary policy strategy, evaluating our tools, thinking hard about the sources of data that we have at our disposal and we wish we had. We've also thought hard about the period ahead. What among these questions will be answered with more clarity, certainly not certainty? So the decision we made today, the discussion we had in that room, was the farthest thing from inertia I can imagine. As a point estimate at this very moment, in a choice between two alternatives, you heard the results of it, but I would tell you that this discussion was far more robust, and our thinking about how best to achieve that target is advanced, and over the coming months I expect it to be advanced much more significantly. If I were to steal a follow-up question, I won't let you, you won't be giving it up. If I were to steal a follow-up question, well, what's the world think about what you've done? I would again reiterate, what we do isn't just about what we say. It's not just about what we do. We're in the performance business. And so if I look at the Treasury curve, if I look at the dollar, if I look at a lot of things that are internals inside of financial markets, I think what they're broadly saying is that this committee does own it, has the credibility to deliver it, and they believe, like I do, that we will. But I don't want to leave you with a misimpression. We've got no magic wand. This isn't something that we're going to be able to carry out in days or weeks, but we're going to deliver on the responsibility that Congress gave us. And today's meeting and the preparation for today's meeting was an important step towards that destination.
I'd like to follow up on the task forces as well and ask, what vetting did you do of the people that you appointed to the task forces? In particular, given Mark Andreessen's substantial political spending, $25 million in just the past year to back candidates who oppose stricter AI regulation, how can the public be confident that a committee he co-chairs will provide an independent assessment of AI's economic effects rather than one aligned with the interests of the AI industry?
Yeah, so I selected 15 incredible subject matter experts to tackle 5 of the most important questions that if we get the answers right, we're going to do a far better job in delivering. And if we get the answers wrong, we have a problem. The comfort that I can give you and your listeners is we're the decision makers. The chairman of the board of the Federal Reserve and the members of the board and the FOMC, we will be the consumers of the outputs from 5 different committees. The judgments we're making will be informed by, but not at all determined by, these outside groups. My theory of the case in establishing the task forces were to pick people with extraordinary talent, depth of expertise, and a divergence of views inside every committee, so they too can have a family fight. This is not outsourcing to people that aren't known and haven't been vetted. This is seeing whether new ideas can catalyze a broader, better, more informed discussion inside the room. And I'm very confident that we're going to be able to do that. I am impressed by the credentials of these 15 people. And full disclosure, I've known almost all of them for a very long time. And I think they're going to give their best views on the subject. But ultimately, these are decisions we're going to make, and we're accountable to our oversight committees and to the remit Congress gave us to deliver.
Hi, Ann Saphir with Reuters. Nice to see you again. So I need a little help here too. You've said repeatedly you have no tolerance for inflation, and yet we are seeing above target inflation repeatedly for 5 years and through your term so far. And sure, you have no magic wand, but you have not taken action. You just gave us a little peek at your reaction function as well. You said that if underlying inflation is rising, that you would tend to think that you might need to tighten. And with the exception of the most recent inflation,
we'll jump to Trump in just a moment.
So could you explain what you mean by no tolerance for inflation and what you plan to do about it?
Sure. So, Ann, I hear from you what I hear more broadly from households and businesses. impatience. Deliver it already. This is not an excuse. This is a fact. This FOMC, this board has been in business for 8.5 weeks. The patience, the impatience that households and businesses feel have been going on for 63 months. We are on the job. We will deliver. We are focused like a laser on making sure we can do it. But the suggestion that we're going to be able to do it with our magic wand is one I want to disabuse you and everyone else of. But the discussion in the last 2 days give me more confidence even than I had 8.5 weeks ago. This team that we have at the FOMC, the support that we have from board staff, and the new hard questions we're asking, we need to resolve those. And as we resolve those questions, get smarter on those, we're going to deliver on the remit. You don't have to take my word for it. If you look broadly at market prices, they are certainly not saying all clear, but they are working in concert to keep us on our toes, and they have tightened financial conditions in this intra-meeting period, and that has given us, that has provided us some comfort that we've got the ability and capability to deliver.
And is your read or your, I guess, faith in markets' ability to sort of make a judgment and then you to take signal from that judgment, how does that affect you when you come up on the September meeting and markets are seeing a near 100% chance of a rate hike as they see now? How does that feed into your decision making and your thinking?
So we're not going to be constrained by market prices. We're not going to be constrained or take verbatim from what the market's doing. But I think it's useful and to understand that markets can be a very good source of information. Not a determinative source, not a perfect source, but if we're trying to land the plane and deliver 2% inflation, and we take a very useful source of information and we get it all fogged up by giving it our own forecasts, by providing rolling commentary, I can assure you that we're going to have less information, less ability to land the plane successfully and deliver price stability. We're just trying to make sure that that source of information is as direct and unfiltered as possible. It isn't to the exclusion of data sources and opinions and other surveys. But if you're hearing from me, we wanted to make sure we were getting a better source of information. I think in a relatively short time we are.
We'll go to Brian Chung for the last question.
Hi there, Chairman Warsh. Brian Chung with NBC News. So you said you'd be open to having press conferences when there's news to make. So today, no change to rates, no forward guidance. For the average household, I guess, what was the news today?
So apparently it was news that I had a press conference. Let me just see if I can offer some clarity on that. Between now and year end, my predecessors and the Federal Reserve committed to press conferences this year. I'm committing to press conferences this year. That might be news to the people in this room and of no particular interest to your viewers and your readers back at home. What I can offer as assurance is that the Fed's on the case, that this Fed chairman feels better about this board and this committee's ability to deliver than I did when I showed up here on the first day, and I showed up pretty confident. I've been heartened by the reception that I received. No doubt in some of your commentaries today, you'll talk about a divided Federal Reserve. Well, that's not the feeling I felt the last couple of days and the couple of days before it. What I felt was a group of professionals, all with different perspectives, different views, different judgments, but eager to roll up their sleeves and have a family fight, and eager to reform the way in which the Fed does policy, a keenness and open-mindedness and curiosity about that, so we have a far better chance to deliver on the remit that Congress gave us. And so I want to leave you with the optimism of a new central banker that we're committed as ever to deliver and to offer an assurance we will. Thank you all very much.
Bye, Kevin. That was awesome. A little boring. He's a politician, of course.
Rated the best airport in
Sounds
the country.
like a politician.
So it's going to be so efficient. Right now, it's totally inefficient.
Now, welcome to the
between the
real
trams and the Star Wars
OG.
thing that they call it the Star Wars and elevated buses and
Huge
nobody
contrast.
knows what's going on. It's a real mess. And as you know, United is subjected to it. It doesn't help United very much. He's been very much involved with what we've done, and other airlines too. And I have to say that we've had over 30 architects and 30 different designs, and we did a little cherry picking, and we spoke to a lot of people about it, and we've come up with a plan that's efficient and really beautiful, and I think it's going to give you one of the most beautiful, keeping the Saarinen. So Saarinen was one of the great architects of the world, and when he built this 30 years ago, I guess, or about that, this was considered one of the eighth wonder of the world. This was considered the greatest terminal anywhere in the country, and it is. It needs some work, it needs some fix-up, but it'll be architecturally amazing, the rounded glass and the whole thing, massive, massive sheets of glass. Cost was no object, unfortunately or fortunately, and we're going to be using that, and it's going to be fixed. We're using it again as the primary entrance, and almost that's about it, because essentially this is a brand new airport, and yet we're going to be able to work it well enough that it'll work at least as efficiently as it works right now. And in the end, you're going to end up with, I think, maybe the best airport and one of the biggest airports anywhere in the world. And it's going to be a great thing for Washington, D.C. So could I ask Jack to say a few words, please?
Yes.
Jack?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your inspiration here and challenge. You challenged all of us to step into the issues that you just described. We're very proud of the process that we've gone through. We're very happy that United Airlines, the Airports Authority, and the other airlines have agreed to step up and fund this thing. So this is not requiring federal dollars. This is going to be airport-generated dollars, airline contributions, which is phenomenal. It means that we're off to a fast start here. We're engaging with the Saarinen family to make sure that they stay intimately involved with this. All the aspects that were just described, I think, will make this a world-class airport. And you challenged us to do this. We're building off of growth, though. I have to tell you, our airport was the fastest growing airport in 24 and 25 of any large airport in the country. So, we're going to continue to build on the momentum that we have, and we're excited about taking on this challenge, and it will be a challenge to construct this. And our goal is to construct it and make sure that the traveling public there'll be minimal impact to them as they transit through our airport. So, again, Mr. President, thank you for your inspiration, and we look forward to you to continue to participate in this in the coming years, because we're going to bring designs to you and other things. So we very much look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. Great
Now
job.
pass the Clarity Act, baby.
Yeah.
Do it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Secretary and Jack and everyone. We're really, at United, we're really excited to have this project get off the ground. The terminal that's out there today was built 45 years ago. It was meant to be temporary. And so I've spent my whole career at United Airlines waiting for this day, and all the people of United Airlines have spent even longer waiting for the day that we could have really the best airport in the world. And this design is one that works great for the airline. The President talked about how it works great for on the outside for the airline, but it's going to be a beautiful airport inside for customers. It's something that all of us at United, but really all Americans will be able to be proud of, having an airport when people come into the capital that really represents what the United States of America stands for. So I'm proud of it as a CEO of United, but proud of it as an American as well.
It's going to be a great one. Thank you. Thank you for your help. And Trent, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership on this. On behalf of the MWA board, this is something that everyone's tried to do for decades, and no one's been able to get it done. And without the President's leadership on it, we'd be back in square one. So thank you for your leadership on this project. Thank you to United and the Department of Transportation for moving this along as quickly as possible.
One of the things that is interesting, they were going to build this over a 60-year period. They were going to start with a little section here, a little section there, and that wouldn't have worked. It wasn't a design like this, but it wouldn't have worked. So we're doing it all at one time. It'll all be completed, and it'll be beautiful, and it'll be something very special. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. I really want to thank the Airport Authority and United Airlines for your partnership, the board of the Airport Authority. Your partnership is critical to make this happen. I know you had a plan to improve the airport, but as the president said, it was a long-term plan. We thought it was too modest, too slow, too modest. And with
60 years isn't too modest.
Decades. But with the president's attention and focus on this, it's
2
accelerated,
years.
it's expanded, and we're actually going to realize the vision, and a much greater vision now. So it's a very exciting day for Washington, for the whole nation.
Well, these people have all been fantastic, and they want to see it get done and get done properly, and it should be done as one airport, not being built in chunks, which would have been, frankly, a catastrophe, I think. So thank you very much. You have any questions?
Here it comes.
Very quickly on this issue, did you just say 2 years? It would take 2 years to
We
finish
think
this?
we can get it started fairly quickly. It's largely financed. And we need some approvals from Congress probably, but generally speaking, it's been very bipartisan.
And then on the attack, the drone attack on the LNG tanker off of Egypt.
Here it comes.
What can you tell us about that? And is there any indication it's Iran related? Does it represent?
Well, I'm going to
widening
give you a
of the war?
report. I've been briefed. It's a little more of the same, but it's going to be straightening out. It's going to be straightening out. In the meantime, we're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming. They're asking us not to do it, but they tried shooting it last night. So we had 5 rockets shot going 8,500 miles an hour, and all 5 rockets were knocked down to the ground. But they nevertheless took a shot, so it's our turn. And we'll see if we get there with an agreement at some point, but we're going to hit them very hard.
Mr. President, first on this, is this expected to affect any incoming or outgoing flights?
No, we think we can do it without a lot of disruption, very little.
And then
It might even be better.
on Leader Thune, what's your reaction to him saying that there's no evident path to success on killing the filibuster or passing the Save America Act?
Well, that's too bad for him. I mean, that's too bad for him and too bad for the Republican Party.
Do you believe that?
He's got the votes. He should get it done. He should be able to get it done.
Mr. President, thank you. Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times today.
Yes,
Senator
sir.
Rand Paul said he's going to hold a vote on holding him in contempt of Congress. Do you think Dr. Fauci should face repercussions for this?
Well, I watched the whole thing today, but more importantly, I was a part of the whole Fauci. I inherited Fauci. He was here from the 1980s, so I had him for a period of time. And I disagreed with him on a lot. I would have had to close down the whole country if I listened to him. I went the Federalist way, which is basically let the governors decide. And generally speaking, the Republican governors did very well. The Democrat governors did not very well. But Fauci wanted to have nobody wearing masks, if you remember, and then everybody had to wear 5 masks, as many masks as you could get. I mean, made a lot of mistakes. And he wasn't a big factor for me. He was a very big factor for Biden. And if you remember, even though we were prime time in terms of that whole disaster of COVID, fewer in the Trump administration than in the Biden administration. We ran it well. Operation Warp Speed was talked about as being one of the great success stories anywhere in the world, actually. And we did a good job. But many more people died under Biden than died in the Trump administration from COVID. COVID was a disaster, but Fauci did not help.
Mr. President, do you think that the DOJ should reopen the investigation into the auto pen, specifically pertaining to Fauci?
Well, the only thing you can really think about is the auto pen, because the most powerful thing the president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden. And I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon. But I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things, that the person operating the auto pen has to know exactly what it's all about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify. So maybe there's something on the auto pen. Other than that, the power of pardon is very powerful.
One question briefly on the...
What's it, Beth?
Thank you. Beth Turner, GB News. We've just heard you talking about another example of American excellence. That's really what this is a project where you're striving to be the best in the world. As a Brit, that's really striking to me. You've had a couple of weeks to get to know our new Prime Minister. Have you spoken to him much? And do you think he is the man to lead us to excellence?
Well, he did say one very good thing. He said he's going to open up North Sea oil. If he does that, you're going to be a wealthy country. If he does it reasonably. I was telling Prime Minister Starmer, open up the North Sea. Open it up. You'll be okay. Open it up. They have two problems. They have a huge immigration problem, people coming from all over the world and just camping out in your country. And we've taken a very tough stand. In fact, for 14 months, nobody has come into our country. Zero, which is almost hard to believe, but that's what the report says. Our borders become very strong, and your border is very weak. He's got that problem. And he's got energy problem. He's got windmills all over the place. And anytime you see windmills, you see a failing country. And they're made in China, not used by China, but they're made in China. And you have a thing called the North Sea. And you buy a lot of your energy, as you know, from the North Sea. You buy it from Norway. And Norway gets it from the North Sea. They get their oil from the North Sea. And Norway's got trillions of dollars in the bank, trillions. It sells its oil from the North Sea. And Scotland has a better part of the North Sea. And you have 500, 600, 700 years. You have areas of the North Sea that haven't even been explored yet. You have one of the most valuable oil finds anywhere in the world. And if the United Kingdom would use it, they'd be a wealthy country again. And I tell you what, I could not get Starmer to use it. It was incredible. Every oil company that I meet, and these are all big giants, every person that I know in the oil business said, please, could you open up the North Sea? Could you get them to open it? They're dying to do it. And if you open up the North Sea to the oil companies, Scotland, Ireland, the UK as a whole, but it's right in Aberdeen, Scotland. It's right in Aberdeen. And that would be one of the most vibrant. You know, it used to be called the oil capital of Europe. Aberdeen was the capital of Europe. And now it's, they don't drill oil. And nobody can understand why. You have it's among the finest oil, it's the best oil anywhere on the planet. And it's unbelievable plenty. You don't have to pay Norway triple what it costs them to take out. You have your own oil and gas. If you use the North Sea, the UK will be a really rich country. I cannot get the point across. The new gentleman, when I spoke to him, he said he's going to open up the North Sea. Let's see if that happens.
The Fed today voted to keep interest rates unchanged. Are you surprised?
Oh boy, here it comes. Let's see.
In any way with Kevin Walsh?
No, Kevin's fantastic, but he's got a board. Yeah, Kevin's got a board.
board.
He's fantastic. He's a brilliant guy, smart. I know he'd love to see lower interest rates, but he's got a board, and it's a political board, and they want to keep rates up. But we fight through rates. We have the strongest investment ever made in a country, of any country. It was China about 13, 14 years ago. We have far greater, 19.2, even Jensen would say that's a lot. 19, and Jensen's spending a tremendous amount of money, by hundreds of billions of dollars. He happens to be in the room. He's spending more than United, actually. Well, he's spending 10 billion, but Jensen's spending hundreds of billions, right? I don't know. That's not a bad business idea. But no, we have 19.2 trillion. So it's the biggest number ever spent in any country by far. And that's over a period of 1 year. As an example, as you know, the Biden administration, for 4 years, did much less than 1 trillion. We're doing 19.2 trillion in 1 year. So we have things that are happening in our country, the likes of which nobody's ever seen. Plants and factories are moving in. Toyota just announced they're building one of the largest car plants anywhere in the world, and truck plants anywhere in the world. We are building more automobile plants now than at any time in the history of our country.
Mr. President, in particular, this is just one of several projects that you have underway in the DMV. Why would you say that you're so focused on transforming the Washington region right now?
Well, this is an important one. You know, this is travel. So in terms of the importance, I think the Arc is going to be incredible. I think the protected ballroom and military center that we're building at the White House is going to be unbelievable. It's very important. But, you know, this is with the airport. This is sort of the lifeblood of a city or a capital, certainly a capital. And this will go from one of the worst, just like Washington. Washington was one of the worst places in this country, and now it's one of the best. You couldn't get into a restaurant because all the restaurants were closing or closed. They were afraid to have it open. Now you can't, if you're a restaurateur, you can't even find space to have a restaurant. The restaurants are booming. So, you know, it's a great thrill. And by the way, if you look, Washington is clean, it's safe. People walk to work. Every day a young man or a young woman comes up and says, "Thank you, sir." I know exactly what he's talking about. They couldn't wait. They were afraid to walk to work. Now they literally walk to the White House. Washington is now a beautiful and clean. We got rid of the graffiti. 78 monuments and different things have been cleaned. They were strewn with graffiti. We had 28 fountains that not one of them worked. For years, for decades, they haven't worked. They're all up in service, and nobody's seen anything like it. We have a clean, we're changing all the grass in all the parks. That's going to be changed very shortly. The parks are, because the grass is very, you know, grass is like human beings. Grass is a life also. And we're changing, we're raking, cleaning, and changing all of the parks. We don't have people, we don't have the tents anymore. We don't have all the barbed wire up. We don't have the wire up. Washington's become a beautiful city. It's become a hot city. But, you know, even more importantly, the United States right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Mr. President, just a point of clarity on the airport. No federal funding will be required. What did you mean when you said Congress?
Yeah, Sean,
So
it's
going to be bonded for $22.5 billion. United is going to partake in part of the payment, but the airlines who participate in the project are going to pay for it. If I can just make one point of clarification.
Yeah, please.
We have some permitting we have to do, but we think in the spring, this is both Concourse A. We think we can start construction in the spring of next year. So we're trying to move at the speed of President Trump. It's never fast enough, but we're going as quickly as possible so we can give a deliverable to the American people.
And the other thing Sean's doing, which I think is so important, maybe more important, I don't know if it can be more important than this, but he's working on air traffic control. We have an obsolete system. It's 50 years old. You saw the helicopter crash a year ago into a plane. That was a disaster. And things like that would never happen. Bells would have gone off in 4 or 5 minutes before it happened. You would have heard the bells and whistles would have gone off. And a thing like that couldn't have happened if you had proper air control. So what's happened is we're working very hard on getting the finest in the country now, in the world. We've examined the systems of almost every good country in terms of air traffic control all over the world. And we have the best people working on it in the world. And it'll make, I mean, so often you'll see somebody even bunking into each other at an airport. But where planes come too close, where planes, in the case of the helicopter the helicopter hits the plane, we are working on air traffic control to redo the entire system, including the new towers, because the towers are obsolete. You know, you don't think of it. You see a tower and it looks fine. You go into those towers, they're literally falling down. So we're talking about new towers and all new air traffic control, which will give us the safest anywhere in the world.
Mr. President, why do you think Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment so many times today when he has the pardon? And what was stopping him from just giving an honest testimony this morning?
Well, look, I've never been a big fan of Fauci. Why he did that was very simple. His lawyer told him to. You know, I don't know if he would have been better off not doing it. There were a lot of questions that I guess he could have answered, and some maybe he didn't feel comfortable in answering, but his lawyer told him to do that.
Prime Minister Andy Burnham hasn't mentioned publicly migration at all since he's gone into number 10. Did you discuss it with him?
I did, briefly. He's going to have to mention it because it's killing your country.
Mr. President,
killing you.
He won't talk to you.
He's killing your country.
He won't talk.
Like,
and not him. I mean, we'll have
blunt.
to see. I know Starmer did very little about it. And they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from South America. They're coming from different parts of Asia. And they're invading Europe. I mean, they're invading Europe. It's an invasion. And the UK is a prime suspect.
Mr. President,
On Todd Blanche, Senator John Cornyn of Texas has been hesitant to back the confirmation. Seems to be some sort of deal that he's talking about. What is your reaction to his hesitancy?
Well, all I can say is Todd Blanche is outstanding, and I thought it was pretty routine because he's so good. You just wouldn't find a better person. So I don't know, maybe John Cornyn's upset with me because I didn't endorse him. I don't know what it is, but I haven't heard that there's a problem. I heard he's going through quite nicely.
And do you think Senate Majority Leader John Thune, after the comments you heard regarding Save America and some other stuff, do you think he's still the man for the job?
Well, we're going to find out, and I'll let you know.
Mr. President, it was a beautiful service yesterday for Senator
Right.
Graham, beautiful eulogy that you delivered. As far as Senator Darlene Graham is concerned, based upon your conversations, is she going to focus primarily on foreign affairs like her brother, or will she focus more on domestic issues?
I think domestic, really. I've spoken to her a lot, and she's much more focused on domestic, including costs and pricing.
And
I think she'll be outstanding.
President Jay Clayton, he was just confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah, he's great.
Would you like to see him continue with Bill Pulte's work at exposing election
Oh yeah,
interference
sure.
in
I'm sure he will.
2020?
Bill did a great job, and Jay has just been confirmed. And he's outstanding. He was the head of Sullivan & Cromwell for many years, and he's very outstanding. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job. And Bill was great. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, in light of advanced ChatGPT AI models escaping their lab and conducting cyber attacks, are you considering stronger controls on AI, and would you consider negotiating
Well, we're looking
regulations
at
with
AI.
China?
We're looking at controls. We're also making sure that we lead. So we're leading China in AI by a lot.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
China has virtually no controls. It's
Say it.
freewheeling a little bit.
Say it.
We have to be careful in both ways. We don't want to restrict them, where all of a sudden we come in second to China.
Say it.
Whoever wins with AI is going to win. That's how big it is. So it's bigger than the internet ever was.
AIN?
It's bigger than anything ever was. So I don't want to restrict. I know many of these people. I don't want to restrict them from doing great work. Yeah, please.
Oh,
Under what scenario do you see
almost.
Iran attacking U.S. installations and personnel overseas and you withdrawing? Or
Oh, I don't see that. No, we're not. No, we're gonna hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but
That was the
we gotta
perfect
smack 'em a little
opportunity
bit.
to mention the Clarity Act.
Mr. President, will you hit back
Yeah.
when they strike?
Will I always hit back?
Yes.
Pretty much. Yes.
Mr. President, just on the point of clarity on that, sir, is that in response to the attempted ballistic missile strike on Jordan last night? When you say it's our turn to hit back?
Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But
Me
no, they
too,
sent
Orange.
8,000
Me
mile an hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest.
Got an
equipment
update
in
for
the world,
Clarity
namely
Act
the
right now. I'll
Patriot
play
system.
for
Think
you
of it.
just
5
right after
missiles
this.
going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Only we, nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
Can I ask, how was your meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday?
It was good.
Do you see a time scale?
No, it was good. Look, he's out doing his thing. I'd like him to end the war. So it's very simple. I get along with both. I get along with President Putin. I get along with President Zelensky. Like I told him, I wanted to end the war, get the war ended. Thousands of people, 25,000 people died last month. That's standard. And it's not acceptable. So I said, just end the war.
Mr. President, on the war, do you want the House to come back before August 31st to act on the Russia and Iran sanctions bill after it
Well, if
passes
it's
out?
necessary, I mean, it shouldn't be necessary, to be honest, but if it's necessary, I'd like to, are you talking about the Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
So I'd like them to add Iran as tariffs, not just as sanctions. I think it's important. That's what Lindsey wanted, because I heard that they have tariffs on Russia, but not on those 5 countries with having to do with Iran. I'd like to see tariffs on Iran. It would make it much stronger. So perhaps you're very good at this. You can maybe tell them. I think they should put in for Russia, but I think they should put in for Iran. And that's really what Lindsey wanted. Yep.
And on Iran, one more, sir, sorry.
And good job at the dinner the other night.
Thank you.
Did a great job.
Thank you, appreciate that. President Xi told you that China would not give or sell Iran any weapons. And there's
No.
a new report that Iran's about to get 400 rocket launchers from China going through Pakistan to Iran.
Well, that would be surprising. I mean, things like that happen, but that would be surprising. He told me very strongly he wouldn't partake, and he knows I'd be quite disappointed. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
And he's coming here, I think, on September 24th.
Two questions. First, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and a good number of 9/11 families have called on New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani to not attend a number of these memorial services.
Look at that.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're having a hard time with Mamdani. The people having to do with anybody having to do with 9/11 right now, on the victim side, and there are a lot of them, they're very unhappy with what's going on in New York, and they're very unhappy with the mayor. I understand that. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Republicans are underway in negotiating the budget. Would you sign a CR without the Save America Act attached? Is that something you want to see?
I'll have to look at it, but they should get to Save America. How simple can it be? Voter identification, proof of citizenship. I mean, now you have to understand the Democrats, not one Democrat will sign because they want to cheat. There's no way they can get elected if they don't, if that happens. But we should have unanimous Republican support. And if we don't, people should look at those Republicans. But think of it. Who would not sign voter identification with photo? And who would not sign proof of citizenship? Only people that want to cheat. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Bev.
Thank you.
Donald Trump in the house, and I got this for you, fam. We watched Kevin Warsh. We watched Trump right now, and nothing about crypto, nothing about clarity. But I'm still bringing you the updates because obviously people talk about it, which is good. Like the rate unchanged, and Donald J. Trump, they're gonna respond to the Iranian missile attack. And yeah, there's more things happening in the world. But now, crypto, 100% to all my XRP holders watching and crypto fam watching, the Clarity Act is good for the country after nearly 11 months. Here she goes.
This is a very good bill. Good for the country, good for consumers, and good for the people we all represent on both sides of this aisle. And after 11 months of giving nearly everything that was asked of us, I am genuinely struggling to understand what else my colleagues across the aisle think it needs before we act. When I was elected to the Senate in 2020, I knew I wanted to work on digital asset legislation because Wyoming's legislature was already years ahead of Washington, building a legal framework for digital asset companies before most of the country was even paying attention. I wanted to do everything I could to keep those companies in Wyoming, and more importantly, to keep them in America. The person I have been most proud to work with is Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York. People have raised an eyebrow for years that a Wyoming Republican and a New York Democrat have worked hand in hand on this bill. But we have become genuine friends, and I trust her. In June 2022, we introduced the Lummis-Gillibrand Responsible Financial Innovation Act together. The first real attempt at a comprehensive regulatory framework for digital assets, dividing oversight between the SEC and the CFTC and regulating stablecoins. That was a 168-page bill. We had to start by deciding whether to create a unique new standalone regulatory framework or lay digital assets over the existing framework. We chose the latter, and then we took off from there. Now, we reintroduced Lummis-Gillibrand in 2023. That was a 274-page bill. It contained provisions that cracked down on mixers and tumblers and crypto ATMs, required plain language customer agreements, and regulated crypto advertising. It was a very strong bill for consumers. From a consumer protection standpoint, it had improved dramatically. Now, that partnership is the foundation this bill stands on. And it's why I reject any suggestion that this bill is partisan. This bill is bipartisan. It has always been about keeping an industry we want here to stay, but regulated in the right way. In Wyoming, we used to call it growth on our terms. This bill is growth on our terms. It is growth on American terms, protecting consumers and protecting us from illicit finance. Now today, we have a 616-page bill because I've listened to my Republican and Democrat friends, incorporated their priorities, and tried to create the best bill possible. That is how we got to a 15-9 bipartisan vote out of the Banking Committee in May. Now,
okay. Yeah, there she goes. 4 years ago in 2022, I went to my first consensus conference in Austin, Texas, and where I met a lot of people. And one of those individuals that I met, was Senator Cynthia Lummis. I have a picture with her. I saw her and I'm like, wow, let me say hi. And it was a brief conversation, no more than 10 seconds, but I had the chance to take a picture, and she was there 4 years ago with Senator Gillibrand from New York. So it's been 4 years since they're trying to make something, and everything she's saying is true. I've been there. I've been listening. I've been seeing it. So it's great to see our industry and all this odyssey of trying to get something done, and we're not leaving, fam. And if you recall, 4 years ago, we were going through the 2022 bear market. So the 2021 bull market, we haven't seen altcoins do anything like we did back then. So Clarity might be our scapegoat, might be really that Hail Mary move. That's not going to be a once and done. It's going to be the beginning of a transformation for our industry. And I'm very bullish on that. Well, my friends, there you have it. I gave you all you needed. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us again for another great live stream, FOMC and more. Big reminder that we have our page, the first link down below. An incredible time for you to get this awesome giveaway. I've seen the volume lately, and people are trading. They're doing the best they can. They're obviously making their best financial moves to get that awesome 5,000 giveaway. And next month, you're going to see a transform page as we are updating it for another 5,000 and now plus one XRP giveaway and the Messi signed shirt. So excited for you guys. People are going to be making money, and we'll keep you, as always, informed. What is this? Binance US plans to apply for the CFTC for a designated contract market. Cool. Eleanor is always keeping us, with all the latest glance of what's going on with the crypto. I always like to see that. And there's more. And there's more. Lemons rejects the latest proposal from Cortes Masto, saying that it falls short of protecting developers. They're just trying to stop it. They're just really trying to stop Clarity at this point. But hey, glad you know by now really the reality of where we stand. Well, guys, thank you. Like and subscribe. Big shout out to TJ, JB, Chipper, Ghost, Eduardo, John, and many more of my great friends right here who were supporting us, my admins. Eduardo, I see you, brother. And awesome members that we have. Jeremy, I see you, bro. Thank you so much. I'll keep you in a sacred. There you are. I see you too. Let's keep going. It's pretty gonna be a nice time. Next week should be fun. We'll be live. Whatever happens, we'll do it together. I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Cyber, my bad. Cyber 2. We got a bunch. Peace. Time to eat, honestly. Time to eat. I'm starving. We'll get something delicious. We'll get something delicious. Once Clarity Act is approved, crypto will, with 43% pump hard. Let's go. We like that. We like that. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.